Test one, two, check, check, check. For those of you online, can you hear me? If somebody can give me a thumbs up before we get started. Let's see. Can anybody hear me online at all? Hopefully it's working online. Yeah. Okay, let's see. If anybody's online, can you hear me at all? Yay! Awesome. Thank you, Mindy. You are amazing. Okay, so let me get this ready and we'll be starting soon. Okay, sorry about being just a couple minutes late. We are getting started. Do you have put this on you? That's one too. Check. There you are. And this can
Just-
be a little more informal today. Or do you have a
Okay.
presentation or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Perfect. And
No PowerPoint though.
perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. For those online, welcome. We've got Steve Farr again here, and he is a gold and silver expert. A friend of mine. He's very, very good, very super knowledgeable when it comes to silver, especially, but gold and silver. And so tonight, if you have questions, this is a guy to ask questions about. He follows the market. Yeah, there's just a lot of wonderful things. Now I'm going to put also a plug in for two things. I haven't had time because I'm pulling crazy hours right now, day after day. But we're doing a sale on the tanks right now. And normally I think these tanks with everything we're giving I think it's close to $700, but we're doing a $580 tank sale on these and throwing in a barrier pad for underneath. That's another $40, and you're getting also a water preserver with it, another $40. So we're throwing all that stuff in. I just haven't been able to put it out on email yet, so that's coming soon for everybody. But right now it's started, so if anybody wants it, that's why all the tanks are inside there that you saw. The other thing is we are going to have. Are we first aid classes? When is that going to be? May 17th and 18th. And why don't you come up here? Okay, so it's going to be easier for you to tell everybody. Go ahead and tell them about it, and I'll be.
Okay, so the certification
them
class
more
is
now
on
about
May
it?
17th and May 18th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at the store. And it's $100. You get CPR training, AED, Narcan, and advanced first aid all at that time. And then also May 17th in the evening from 6 to 9, we have kind of a stop the bleed kit and class that goes over tourniquets, chest seals, and all of the new product that I think I was telling people about, new stat and stuff. They will be going over all of that on May 17th from 6 to 9. So anyways, back to Marcelo. If you want to sign up, please give me a call.
Okay, and the other thing. Oh, Celeste,
Yes.
are we still doing 22nd?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so
Technically, we have a class also with Larry Mudgett with the Marksmanship Matters course on Wednesday, May 22nd, 6:30 evening.
Okay, so just to let you know who Larry is, I think for those of you who were in the last class, I talked a little bit about him. He is the #1 gun trainer in the world. Okay, he and Jeff Cooper, if you've heard that name, studied together for about 36 years. Jeff Cooper has died. His wife, Jeff's wife, was saying that Larry has actually outsurpassed Jeff's stuff. Larry was the one who took the LAPD for 35 years. He trained the SWAT division and everything else, and he took them from about an 18% graduating marksman percentage, and within I think a week, he took it up to like 100% and kept it there for like 10 years, and he's just amazing. So anyways, we got him coming on the 22nd. We're planning on having this completely full. So if anybody wants to be a part of it, as soon as you can, get with Celeste and put your name on. It's completely free. He's coming and going to donate his time. So that's going to be super exciting to have him here. Now, without any further ado, we're going to bring up Steve, and he's going to talk a little bit about precious metals today. And before he does, I just brought something kind of fun, and I don't know if you have. Maybe you do. Is this real or not real?
It's real.
Okay, take a look at these. You ready?
Are those real?
Let's go. I've got a bunch of coins here. You see all those? And these right here, these silver coins are beautiful and wonderful. But the more beautiful part about it is half of them are fake. And you wouldn't even know. because they look almost exactly like the real ones. Okay, I know, but you guys want to know. He would know, but you guys probably want to know. And what's interesting is on KSL, people are selling a bunch of fake ones. So on classified ads, people are selling a bunch of fake ones. You need to know that there are fake ones out there and they look exactly the same.
Have you turned
Yeah.
them in?
Say again?
Did you call KSL and tell them?
Oh, it's a bunch of places. Yeah, I mean, let me show this to you guys. In fact, can somebody hold this? He has got a microphone. Can you get it? Actually,
I'll
bring
do
it
it.
like close to me. And so, just to show you this. Okay, you'll take these coins, and you can hear the sound. You hear that? Okay, I'm going to show you one. See, I'll give you a couple different ones. I'll put that one down. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah,
Okay, fake or real or real? Which one?
fake,
Fake. Okay, that one's fake. Ready? Goes.
real.
Real. And it's going somewhere else. Okay, so, anyways, that's real.
Real.
Yeah. Ready? You guys ready for another one? Let's see if you can tell if it's fake or real. Fake. That one's fake.
Real.
Fake.
Really?
Okay. Real. Fake. You guys got it? So, but isn't that interesting? They look exactly the same. And if you didn't check it, you would have gotten duped. And if they sold you tons of this stuff, you would have just lost a ton of your money. Does that make sense? So you got to be real careful, because right now there's 2 coins that are being sold out there that look exactly like the real coins, and they're being sold a lot. So just be careful. You know where I got these? A coin dealer got duped. And I said, I'll buy these from you, no problem, because I'm going to use them for presentations. The other thing I teach people, you'll find this interesting, but I travel around the world, and what happens is I lived in Rio de Janeiro at the time when Rio de Janeiro was the first and third most dangerous place in the world. And you never just, if somebody's going to mug you, you don't just sit there and say, I don't have anything on me. You always give them something, because they don't believe you if you say you don't have anything on you. So I carry fake credit cards. You know how it says your name on them? It actually says YOUR name, And I grab those, the real plastic ones, and they have the fake strip on the back. And I just carry those with a 5 and a 10 and a couple ones. And in an emergency, you can literally have some of these coins. And if somebody tries to do something, you just give it to them. Say, okay, look, I'll give you my coins, and you give them fake ones. But the thing about it is if they're going to steal, might as well give them something, right? And so, but anyways, the idea is it's a safety thing. But the reason I bring this up is because you can't get duped. You got to be real careful. And he knows a lot about this stuff. So I want you guys to pay attention tonight to what he's teaching about silver and gold, and ask a bunch of questions. We got an expert here. So Steve, let's give you the time.
I have a different technique.
Okay, what is that?
I tell them all they have to do is kill me and they could take what they want.
There you are. That works.
It's not that easy though.
Okay, so he says his technique is, if you kill me, you can take whatever you want, but it's not going to be easy. So, yeah. Let's turn it over to time to Steve. And Steve, thank you for being here.
He's still here.
Okay, you guys?
So it's worked. So let's just start where he was going, I guess. Because a lot of people, they bring these little things to test stuff when they come visit with me to buy stuff. And we do, just so you know, I do about $100,000 to $150,000 a day in sales of a hobby that I didn't even plan on being a business. But so people bring things and test and do whatever, magnets for silver. Silver's slightly magnetic. But anyway, the thing about me is I don't buy from anybody else other than the mints. So I don't buy from people off the street. So he said a dealer got duped. I can't get duped. I was duped once, and that was the last time. A guy wanted to trade me 4 bars of gold or 3 bars of gold for a rare gold coin, and I said, no, I don't do that. I don't, take in product. And he says, I'll do 4 bars of gold. And I said, well, that's ridiculous. You're losing money on the deal. And he goes, but I really want that coin. So I said, okay. And I have cameras in my house and around my house and everything. And so he came, and I looked it up online, it was 4 gold bars. I should have brought them. But the length of it was right, the width of it was right, the weight of it was right, everything was right except for the thickness. And it was in, well, I don't know if you've seen, they sell them in a credit card package kind of a thing. It's a credit card sized plastic with this thing embedded in it, the gold bar. And anyway, so what happened was I did the trade because I did my homework, and everything it said about a fake one, this was not. Because online it said, this is what a real one is, this is what a fake one is. And this was everything that a real one was, except for the thickness, but I didn't measure the thickness of it. It was just a little thicker because it's tungsten in the middle. So to make the weight right, they had to put more make it wider, or thicker, I should say, to get that to weigh right. So what happened is I got a call from a client in Bluffdale, and he said, I want to order some silver, and he orders about 1,000 ounces of silver a month. And so I said, now we've become friends. And I said, I just got 4 bars of gold for a St. Gaudens coin. And he said, well, I want 4 bars of gold for a St. Gaudens coin. Give me his number. And I said, well, I don't give my clients private information out. So put it on KSL and see what happens. No kidding. The people contacted him. And he said, they're texting me saying they want to do a trade for gold bars. And I said, it sounds like the right people. And I said, is this the number? And he said, no, it's a different number. So that was kind of one of the clues that I got. And then he said, I said, get a picture, have them send you a picture of the gold bars. Don't do anything yet. Because I said, something's fishy here. They told me they had inherited 10 gold bars, and that's what they were trading 4 of those 10 to me for. When they sent a picture, there was 14 gold bars in the picture. So obviously they were not honest. So I went to a friend who owns Sierra West Jewelers, and he has a $45,000 X-ray gun, and we X-rayed these bars, and they were fake. Came up tungsten. So make a long story short and kind of tell you the end of it. I actually texted the guy and said, I kind of lied, okay? And I said, I work as an informant because I do a lot of money going through my business. And I said, I work as an informant with the FBI, and a crime has been committed here. And I said, remember I told you, they used a different number with me than they did with this guy. So the number they used with my client was an LA number from Los Angeles. And so I said, we have pictures of you on my cameras. The FBI ran it through. They found you on 2 databases, is what I said. And I said, but if you return that coin, I said, a crime hasn't been committed, and I won't have them apprehend you within the next few hours. And he goes, my wife thinks you're bluffing. Literally, him and his wife came and sat in my office to rip me off. Anyway, so he said, my wife thinks you're bluffing. And I said, look, the FBI, if you don't return that coin, I said, that's your choice. But the FBI they're pinging your numbers, and they will apprehend you within the next 4 hours. I said, so that coin better be returned by 7 o'clock to any U.S. bank, because U.S. banks are open till 7 o'clock in these Smith's grocery stores. And I didn't want them to have to come to my house or anything. So I just said, put it in an envelope with my name and number on the envelope, and you'll be good. And everybody said, you'll never get it back. You'll never see that coin in a million years. Well, at about 7 after 7, I get a call from the bank. Hey, we got this envelope with your name on it. So the reason I got that done is because I said, the FBI are pinging not just your Salt Lake number, but your Los Angeles number. And he went, how does he know that? Well, it just happens to be that my client told me. So I got lucky. So I got the coin back, and it was the coin. And then he texted me back, if you can imagine, and said, when can my wife and I come pick up the gold bars that we gave you? And this is what I told him, because I wanted to keep them for reference. I said, oh, those you just need to contact Interpol to get those back. Who knows what Interpol is? International Police. So I just kind of had fun with the guy. Never heard from him again. But what I tried to do, this is what's the sad part about the story. I contacted the Salt Lake police, the Sandy police, because that's where he lived, and that's where he wanted to meet this. Remember, my other client, he wanted to do a trade for fake gold bars again, and he wanted to meet at a grocery store parking lot in Sandy. So I called the Lehigh police, because that's where I live, the Sandy police, the Salt Lake police, and tried to get to have a sting done where we would have detectives go out there and get these guys. I never even got a call back from any police department. I left messages, I called multiple times. They weren't interested whatsoever. But the honest thing about it is a few years later, I read actually a KSL article that said they had arrested somebody that was trading gold bars, fake gold bars, as currency. So I don't know if I probably doubt it was him, but they did catch somebody. Okay, so we're going to talk about a few things today that I think are pretty important. Okay, so I'm going to go completely out of order here. There is one thing I want to talk about is investing for your future. I run into people every single day that have deferred tax programs. A deferred tax program is anything from a 401k or a IRA or any of these type of places to park your money. I'm 100% against them. Excuse me. So a deferred tax program means that you have to pay taxes in the future. Anything in the future is going to be more than if you just paid it now. Okay? So I'm dealing with some people that I've gone over some personal consultations with, and thank you. And I have a guy right now, I'll tell you a little, I like to tell stories, but this guy, I've never met him, he lives in Tennessee. He has over $1 million in an IRA, okay? And he's old enough now that he has to take out a certain amount every single month. And so he called me and bought a box of silver. A monster box of silver is 500 ounces of silver that's sealed from the mint, okay? Before I go on, let me tell you what we were talking about before. So I cannot sell anything that's fake because I don't buy from anybody off the street. I forgot to mention that I just buy from the mints. And so I know everything is brand new, never been pre-owned, never been, circulated in any way, shape, or form. And so I make my money off of helping people. I make very little off of what I do. And so I figured out that if you have an attitude to help people, then you're going to do better than if I'm trying to sell all the time. So these dealers and places are trying to sell all the day long. And I'll tell you an example. There's a guy that comes in and because a dealer you can go to, like a coin store, will buy back from the public. So this guy walks in and says, I want to sell this silver. I need some Christmas money. And I was standing right there. I was kind of nosying around. And so they dumped them out just like on the counter, bare hands. By the way, if you touch silver with your bare hands, it's going to start the tarnishing process. The oil's on your hand. So you want perfect product, because when you go to resell it, you want it to be presentable. So this guy dumps it out, the worker, and he shuffles them around. And what he's looking for is make sure that they're all U.S. Eagles. And they are, and he stuffs them back in there. And he's just, the edges are really sharp, and he's just scratching them and throwing them back in there. Then he puts the lid on and sets it aside. And I'm kind of poking around and kind of watching what's going on. Another guy comes in and says, I'd like to buy a tube of U.S. Eagles. And he goes and grabs the one that he just threw around and scratched and everything else and goes, here you go. The guy had no idea, didn't ask or anything, and he just paid the money and walked out the door with it. So everything that I sell has never gone through anything like that. Perfectly brand new 2024, straight from the mint. In fact, the U.S. Mint now has seals over the tubes since 2023. They've never done this before. But that's what I do. Okay, so I don't buy back from the streets. I don't even have to check or wonder or whatever. So the other thing is, what I was talking about on the IRAs is, remember this and write it down if you're taking notes, 2026, January 1st. Donald Trump, like him or not, has a tax moratorium that's in place that'll end on the last day of 2025. Okay, so January 1st, 2026, the taxes are going way up. And so if you have an IRA or a deferred tax program, you want to get that out I would say split it up between this year and next year. Okay. So this guy, let me tell you, the guy in Tennessee, so he buys a box of silver. I send it to him. He calls me back and says, my housekeeper stole the box of silver. And so I said, well, where did you have it? And he just said, I just had it out in the open or whatever. So it was obvious. So what he did is because he has to move money out of this IRA because of what I told him. So plus he has to take out a certain amount every month anyway. So he did something else the next time. He bought what's called a gold IRA. Has anybody heard of that? You can put gold into an IRA. So number one, he was paying, and he paid $25,000. I'm going to tell you this story because it happens every day to people. He put $25,000 into gold, some gold and some 6 ounces of silver. That was like the change. $25,000. He paid, and he can't get it because in a gold IRA they have to store it for you. So there's a storage fee. That was $425 a year. And he made a copy of his receipt and sent it to me. He got $6,000 worth of gold and 6 coins of silver for his $25,000. So I actually called the company for him and said, what did you do to this client of yours? And they said, well, there's fees and there's all kinds of stuff. Well, they didn't even know what they're talking about. They gave this guy $6,000 of product for $25,000 and they're charging him $425 a year for storage. So I told him to get it out of there and send it to me. Basically, what we decided to do is to have me store it for free. Okay? I store for several people, and I'm offering that to anybody that comes through the food storage depot. Free storage if you want it. I'm not selling you on that aspect. I'm just saying that it's available for you guys for free. I'll store it. I have an underground vault that's highly protected. It's got laser, it's got heat detection, motion detection, cameras, and nobody even knows that it exists anyway. So it's highly secure, very, very professionally done. So I store people's products because I have single women that just don't want to have. I had a woman that bought $150,000 worth of silver, and she bought a safe. And she has this safe right in her living room. And she wanted to take it upstairs. The company said they couldn't get it up the stairs because of how heavy it was. And so she has this safe right when you open the door, you see it in the house. And I said, that's just a big, huge red target. That's exactly where people think if you got something, it's going to be in there. And so in my office, which is in my home, I have a really nice safe over here, and I have a really old safe that you can't find anymore. I've been offered $5,000 for it. It's just a nice old safe, like over 100 years old. And it's in perfect condition. Both of my safes are open, are unlocked, I should say, 24/7. We're coming full circle here because I want to bring up these fake coins. So if some people say, well, this is a really good safe. I have another silver client that owns he sold it now, but he used to own a safe company. And he says, I can get into any safe in 20 seconds. Because sometimes people forget their combination and he has to literally break into their safe because of the content that's in it. And he says, I'm in there in 20 seconds. With a drill, I know exactly what you need to do. And he said, so they're not that great. So again, I have people that say, I have a really good safe. The problem is if, like for instance, a neighbor of mine, again, they have a huge, great room with a nice big kitchen. They make a lot of money. And there's a safe, again, right in amongst their furniture. So there's a couch, a love seat, another chair, and then this safe right there as part of their. And I said, where are you putting all this stuff? Because they've pretty much bought close to $1 million worth. And they said, it's all in the safe. I go, boy, I would have never guessed, you know? So I said, that's a problem. And so we talked about it and we remedied that. But the point I'm trying to make is my safes are decoys. Okay. I used to think they were safe, but they're not. So he took those coins. So remember the 4 bars I got that I told to get them back, you have to call Interpol? I use those for decoys. So I have some 20s in my safe. I have some gold bars in there. And, you know, it's all, if somebody came and said, put a gun to my wife's head and said, open the safe. It's open, help yourself. Okay, if I'm on vacation, I literally open the doors of the safes and I'm gone when I'm gone. So if somebody broke in, they're going to go, okay, well, I don't even have to break into the safe. Or worse yet, I don't want somebody breaking through my window, putting a cable around it, putting it to the back of their truck and just hauling it through the wall and taking it down the street. Because any safe can be broken into if they have enough time, if you don't know the 20-second drill method. So I teach people where to put it, how to hide it, a little bit more discreet type of ways to do things there. Okay, so again, taxes are going to go up. If you have any deferred tax program, I just tell people bite the bullet and pay the taxes on it, get your money out of there and get it working. You can convert it. Let me talk 2 seconds about, it's a good time to get a drink. A Roth IRA. Oh boy. By the way, I don't even have a life insurance policy. I'm against those as well. The reason is for me, I'm not telling you not to have one or anything, but for me, companies advertise a lot to get your money. And what they're doing with your money is they're making themselves a heck of a lot of money on that. So I've decided to do it myself. Okay, I remember when I got my first silver coin, 1, and then I thought, I want 2. I got 2, and I just kind of kept going with it because it's a way to leverage your money. Leverage is the opposite of putting money under your mattress or having money in the bank or any of these things where your money's sitting. Those are not leveraging your money. But silver, stock market, whatever that can grow your money is what leverage is. Get your money to grow. So life insurance, especially a term life insurance policy, it's an absolute ripoff because most people aren't going to die when they're 50 years old and they buy a 10-year life insurance term. Okay, what you get is nothing. You spend all that money every single month, and then at the end of the term, if you're not dead, you don't get the benefit, and they keep the money. And then a lot of people get another term. Okay, so I just said I can put my money away. Any extra money that I make that I don't have to live on and have for groceries, gas, payments, and whatever, I'm putting into a few good things. Like I know how to trade very well in the stock market, and I start putting into silver. And so I'm going to talk about the timing here in a second. But now I have tens of thousands of ounces of silver. And so just to tell you, gold is a very good investment. Silver is a phenomenally great investment. It'll outdo gold all day long. So the only reason I have gold, which is less than 10% of my portfolio in precious metals, is just because I have people that buy it. So I started getting people asking, I'd like to get gold. Well, silver's better. Well, I still want gold. Today, a guy says, I have no idea about this stuff at all. And he says, I want to buy some gold. And he said, can you educate me a little bit? I taught him about silver. He still bought gold. So it didn't matter. A lot of people are just kind of set on what they really, really want, and that's fine. I just basically educate and then support whatever their decision is and try to get them to get the best, most operative thing in their portfolio. So I don't have a life insurance policy. I don't have an IRA. I don't have any of these things. But if you do have an IRA, you can move it. There's 2 things you can do. But when you do move it, if you roll it over into a Roth IRA, you've got to pay the taxes. And then once it's in the Roth IRA, you can, if you self-direct it, you can, like me, I have it in the stock market. I have a Roth. The only investment account I have is a Roth. Okay, there's no taxes now, there's no taxes later, there's never any taxes. So right now, if I can remember right, I think it's $7,500 limit for people. I'm 62 years old. So anybody my age or older, I think you can put up to $7,500 a year. You're limited. Why are you limited? Because it's so good for you, okay? They don't want good things for you. Why can you put as much as you want into an IRA? Because it's not good for you, and it's good for the government. It's good for the custodians over that. Everybody else other than you, it's good for. The person that actually owns the money, it's not good for, okay? Flat out. It's just that bad. So if you move it over into a Roth IRA, you have to pay the taxes, but you get to exceed that $7,500 limit. You can move your whole 401k into there if you want to, the whole dang thing. Or you can liquidate it. Either way, if you liquidate it or roll it, you have to pay the taxes on the IRA at that point and then put it into silver. Okay. So I'm working with dozens of people right now that just don't know what they're doing. And now we're converting it into silver every month or whatever. And so, and I'm talking about people with money, I don't know where they got it from, but 500,000 to millions of dollars type of people. But so just so you know, again, the Roth IRA paid no taxes. If you take, so I just did this. So it's too late now, but usually you can put money in for a previous year up until tax day. So on tax day, you can put money in for last year, like 2023, but that tax day is already gone. So let's just say this year, you put 7,500 in there. What I did with my wife is, so I taught her how to trade in the stock market. So I put with two different contributions, one tax day last year, and then about a week later, I put a total of $10,000 in there, dividing it up between 2 years. And I said, let's just start with $10,000. And that accounts $28,000 now. Okay. All she did was do very safe trades in the stock market. But that $28,000, the money that's growing at, it's still the original amount was $10,000, but all the money that she's growing it to is 100% tax-free. No penalties, no tax, nothing. So that's the only investment. Let me go back to a 401k. The only good thing about a 401k is if you're currently with a company and they're matching. Any kind of a match is instant money you're making. So if you put 3% of your check in, let's just say that's $500 or whatever. And let's say they match 100%. That's the best. You put 500 in, they're putting 500 in, or whatever it is. If they're matching 50%, still pretty dang good. If they're matching 25%, still good. But I have people that are putting money into a 401k and there's no match. That's terrible. Okay? Because again, it's in a deferred tax program. The only benefit you get for putting money into a deferred tax program is the fact that you don't have to pay taxes on that money this year. But that's terrible because pay it now because it's going to be more later. Every single time, no matter how you slice it, it's going to be more later. Okay? So just remember that. So I don't believe in any of these things. And I have 6 daughters. They're all adults. My youngest is 23. She just got off a mission, and she's at BYU, and she's always telling me, my roommates, their parents are paying for everything, but they're always out of money. She goes, so just so you know, I've never given my kids a dime. No allowance, no college money. They paid for their own missions. They paid for their own car. They paid for their own college. They pay for everything, but they have more money than most any adult. My daughter, it's 23, has $35,000 in the bank, paid cash for a car when she got home from her mission. She paid for her mission 100%. She is paying for her college, and she's in college renting an apartment. She's paying for her tuition, books, gas, food, everything, and her account is growing. So I taught my kids to have your account grow instead of take money off the top until it goes down to nothing, like these kids that they just get money from their parents and they just use it till it's gone. Use it till it's gone. So my daughter just keeps making money, and she just takes the interest that it's making. It's not really interest, but the money that she's, involved in. So anyway, it's a different philosophy. And my son-in-law, remember I have 6 daughters, so I've got sons-in-laws all over the place now. One of them's an attorney, and he's an estate planning attorney. He doesn't know anything about money. He's got $150,000 in his bank account, and it's just sitting in his bank making 0.01% interest. And guess what what he pays every month? A student loan for his law degree. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm kind of in a quandary. I don't know if I should just pay it all off and then that money's gone, or if I should keep the money for emergency. And I said, why don't you put the money to work and let's make the thing grow so you're not ever taking any of the principal, but the money that you're making, we can pay the student loan off. He just goes, oh my gosh. So I keep texting him screenshots of my stock account, okay? Just so you know, 2 days ago, I made just under 13% on the whole account in 1 day. The next day, I made over 5%, a little over 5% on the whole account in 1 day. So the point of that is why would you ever put money into a CD? 2 problems. You put the money in a CD for 3 months, 6 months, whatever you want to do, and you're making I just looked today, 5.25% interest, and then you pay taxes when you get your money at the end of the term. You're actually losing money at that rate because inflation, they're saying, is around 9, and that's totally false. It's more like 30. Okay, just so I know, because everything that I pay for every year has gone up 30% this year. So my car insurance last year went up 25%. My car insurance this year went up 30%. So 55% in a year. 2 different times, but in a year. So inflation's a little bit out of hand. Okay, inflation is how strong your dollar is compared to what it used to be, and it's not nearly. Okay, so we just went out to dinner. It was just my birthday. We went out to dinner. It was $20 a plate for a Mexican place. When I'm 62, I already gave that away. I remember when I was a kid, we'd buy it for $2.50. You'd get the whole everything at a Mexican restaurant. Less than that even. Anyway, so, okay. So deferred tax programs, I'm against. Liquidate it, pay the taxes, bite the bullet, because whatever you put it in, you're going to make up the tax difference. Whatever you paid in taxes, we can make that difference up. And so put it into silver. I'm going to talk about why the timing's ridiculous right now. So a couple of things. Who's heard of BRICS? You know about BRICS? You guys know about BRICS? Have you over here? Okay, BRICS is an acronym. It stands for certain countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Those are countries, just so you know, the petrol or oil has been traded in the US dollar forever. These countries are trying to get out of that, and they're coming out with a digital currency. The digital currency is backed by gold and silver. Okay? It's not out yet. Not only is it those 5 countries that I mentioned that BRICS stand for, there's about last I checked, it was about 80 other countries that they've invited into the pool. Okay? So Saudi Arabia and a whole bunch of them. Okay? So they want to get away from the US dollar. There's a lot about the dollar that's going to happen in the future. This is one of them. Another one is, I jump around a lot, I know, but another one is that China has purchased over $1 trillion in US Treasury bonds. Okay? Does anybody know how much $1 trillion is? You think? To count. Okay, you win. Did you hear what she said? It takes, if you start counting now and never stopped as fast as you could, it would take, I had a guy today that's very educated. He said, 20 years. I said, 20 years? You think that long? And he said, no, probably not that long. It's 31,700, we'll round it off to 31,700 years it would take to count to $1 trillion. Okay, and somebody in the Washington is throwing money out like bubblegum at a parade. Okay, he's giving other countries money that we have to borrow against to get, and we're giving it away. Why don't the other countries borrow money and create debt to support their whatever? Okay, it's ridiculous, but that's buying votes. But China is hoarding massive amounts of gold by the metric tons, and I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of metric tons of gold. They are outdoing us financially from leaps and bounds. It's crazy. So the dollar, I read this today, and let me think if I can remember it. The dollar is the dirtiest, it's the dirtiest shirt. How do you say this? No, it's the cleanest. How does it go? It's the cleanest dirty shirt in the laundry. Okay. So it's all a joke. Anyway, so let me go back to this BRICS thing. They're going to come out with a digital currency. This isn't like Bitcoin or all these other weird things. They're going to come out with a digital currency backed by gold and silver. And there's world banks, countries, and everything that are hoarding up all the gold and silver that they can. The greatest owner of silver is who? Who owns more silver than anybody else? JP Morgan. They benefited billions of dollars through lying and cheating, and the company got fined a couple $1 million for gaining billions, and 2 guys went to prison for 2 years. 2 guys went to prison for 2 years. I would go to prison for 2 years to benefit in billions. But anyway, so does anybody know what is the only indication of the price of gold and silver? What pushes and pulls on the price of silver? Most everything is supply and demand, but not gold and silver. Okay. So the stock market, buying pressure makes stock go up. That means more people wanting to buy than are willing to sell. Selling pressure pushes it down. Any instrument that you have your money in, that's what it is, except for gold and silver. Gold and silver, the physical part, which is what I highly recommend, don't get a contractual agreement or something where you have silver like these gold IRAs or whatever. Because what if the world goes to pot? We're in World War III and you call up and say, hey, I need to get my gold. Guess what they're going to say? Who are you? Whatever they're going to say. They're not going to send you your gold. If it's not in your hand, it's worthless. But the number one or the only thing that dictates the price of gold and silver is the futures market, the commodities market. Do you know what that is? So certain things are traded in the futures market. Gold, silver, coffee. Sugar, wheat. That's the number one. Oil's the number one traded commodity on the futures market, but coffee's the number 2, actually. You can imagine. So just to kind of tell you, this is crazy to even think about for me. I don't know why. It's like one of those $1 trillion deals. How fast it takes to count to $1 trillion. There's 400 times more gold traded in the futures market every single day than exists on the whole dang planet. Just let me compare that to the currency market. Does anybody know about the currency market where you're trading currency pairs? Like I'm going to trade the dollar against the Canadian dollar or whatever. There's 22, at least when I used to teach this, there used to be 22 pairs. I don't know what it is nowadays. It was doing a couple of $1 trillion a day in volume, the whole market combined. So I used to teach this. I was going to write a book and title it Tap into Trillions. Because if you can make a little bit off $1 trillion, that's a lot. So that was going to be my book. But then it's gimmicky and it's manipulated and everything about it. I got out of it. So let me go back to gold and silver on the futures market. That's what dictates the price. Does anybody know what shorting the market means? So what's typical in a stock market trade or any kind of a trade? You buy low, sell high. Well, when you short the market, you're selling first to open a play, and then you buy back later. Anybody in this room can do that in the stock market. You can actually go in and sell a stock that you don't even own, and then buy it back later. If you think the market's going to crash, do that. Okay? I used to teach stock market strategies, advanced strategies. So selling high, buying low in that order, selling first and then buying it back. You sell to open the play, buy to close the play. Okay, so these are some of the things that I do in my stock market strategies. Anyway, so what happens when you short the market? When you go into this futures market and you literally sell something first, like JP Morgan. I don't make a difference because I'm not even a ripple in the water. But when JP Morgan comes to the table and they short the market, remember what I told you, pushes and pulls, selling pressure. So when they short the market, it puts selling pressure into the market and it pushes it down. So that's what's happening. JP Morgan is pushing the price down. I'm not talking about the cheating they did to go to prison and the fine. That's different. I'm talking about legal manipulation now, where you can do this. They sell, and drive the price down. And over here, that's what the physical silver price is, or gold. Okay? So gold's been a little bit harder to suppress. Has anybody watched the market lately in gold and silver? What's gold done? It's hit its all-time high, record high ever, like multiple times last month. Or was it the month before? I can't keep up with it. Anyway, so let me kind of reference that. In 2011, gold hit its all-time high of $1,900 an ounce. Silver hit an all-time high of just under 50. That's 2011. Gold right now is at 23 something. $23.10 right now on the spot price, and silver's at $27.35. So remember, gold was $1,900 in 2011. Now it's $400 more than that. Silver was $50, and it's almost half of that. Okay. Has anybody heard of the gold-silver ratio? Okay. What is it usually supposed to be? Usually 16 to 1. What that means is it takes 16 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. I don't know if I should do this problem right now. Let me do this math problem. What did I say? 2310 divided by 27. It's almost 85 to 1 right now. So gold is the leader, silver is a lagging indicator. What that means is that silver will catch up someday. Gold has been doing this and silver's been doing this. By the way, it hasn't necessarily been doing that. So it hit $22 an ounce just a few months ago. I bought 5,000 ounces when it did that. And now it's at 27. So take 1,000, let's just take 1,000 ounces. If it goes up $1, that's $1,000 profit. And it's $5 higher now. So that's 5,000 and then times 5. So that's $25,000 I've made in a few months just by buying that. So I had to talk my wife into it. I had to talk her into this too. We bought a horse and she went, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, we're going to buy a horse for investment purposes." We never even saw the horse. We never met the horse, never saw it, never was even in the same state that the horse was in. We bought a horse for $28,000. I'm sorry, $38,000. I named it 38 Special, okay, because I got a deal on it. Who would think that's a deal for $38,000 for a horse? A year later, I sold it for 6 figures. Okay, so that's what I do. I take and I grow money. That's what I know how to do. And so if you can get your money to grow in ways that aren't normal, so I tell people I'm not like most people. Number one, I don't drive in traffic at work hour or rush hour. I don't sit in a cubicle. I don't answer to people. I don't do what most people do. The other day, my wife said, "Oh, you need to go pick up our daughter at the airport." And I got on the freeway and called my wife. I said, "There's an accident. Can you tell me where the accident is so I can know when it's going to free up?" And she goes, "There's no accident." "What do you mean?" "That's work traffic." And so I couldn't believe it. And so then I went in the middle of the day and picked up another daughter. We had a baby shower or something. And I'm coming home at 3, a little after 3, and I'm in traffic again. I said, "Okay, now there's got to be an accident." Nope, it's work traffic. I said, it's just after 3. Work gets out at 5. And she says, "Not anymore. Everybody leaves early to try to beat traffic, and they're creating more traffic." So I said, there's tens of thousands of, I called them idiots, sorry. But I said, there's tens of thousands of these people on the freeway doing the exact same thing like cows being prodded. It just didn't make sense to me. So I always tell people I'm not like most people. Yes.
Say you made, you bought 20,000.
Microphone. Hold on 1 second so people online can hear you.
Okay, so this is my question, I guess, is, you bought the silver, let's say at 20,000 or whatever you said, and it's gone up, $5, and so you made, 5,000 or however
So I
much.
bought it when the spot price was 22.
Right. But it's only worth that if you sell it. And it's the same with the stock. If you
That's
buy
what
a
my wife
stock
says, but
at $5 and you go, and now it's worth 10, it's only worth 10 if you sell it. If the market does what it did and goes back, where it was 50 and now it's down at 20, 22 or wherever you said, if you would have bought it at 50, you've lost money only if you sell it. So how do you know in the future that it always is going to be going up and not down? And then when you need it, it's down and you didn't make, the 25 grand because now it's worth below what you paid for it. So it's really only worth what it's worth when you're ready to get it. In my mind, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
well, that's what
but
my
when
wife
you're ready to
says.
use
It's
it,
not
like-
worth anything until you sell it. You
Yeah,
you
so-
can't talk about it yet.
Yeah. So,
So
I
my
don't know if
horse
I'm
is
gonna go
worth
over that or
6
not, but-
figures because I've sold it.
Yeah. So I don't understand that.
That thing's
as
not
far as
working,
that
is it?
goes.
That might,
It's working. I think you just need to be
Oh,
closer.
sorry.
okay, that's
So
fine.
anyway, that's
Okay.
my question is, how do you know, that it's going to be worth what it's worth when you
Just
need
like
it?
in your IRA account or anything else, it's going to go up and down, right? Whatever. So you can just look at it and say, okay, it's worth this today and count your pennies, whatever.
And if you want, I can mention just a couple things real quick.
Well, before you do,
Yeah, go
I'm just telling you, I'm in this for the long haul. Okay. I'm 62 years old, but I think I want to live at least because of Jiminy Cricket. I want to live to at least 103, if you remember the song. Anyway, so I have a lot of years left. And in the next 5 years, I'll get to this in a second of what's going to happen.
Awesome. So just to give you a little background on that question and also the importance of silver. I'm a big silver. I mean, I've got gold and silver. I'm a big silver person. And when he's talking about 16 to 1 and right now it's 85 to 1, anything over 50 is a buy, right? That's when you just get into it. But you got to understand, you can't get into the mentality of, oh man, it went up, it went down. You're going to give yourself a heart attack. I mean, you're just going to stress out all the time. I don't even care. And the reason for that is because of what I learned in Brazil when I lived in Brazil during 30,000% inflation.
That's
Okay.
all?
That's it.
Jeez.
Okay,
You have
so-
it good.
In other words, if you had $30,000 at January 1st, it was worth less than $1 on December 31st. That's how much we lost. And just to give you a feel for what that felt like, if you guys want to know, do you want to know what it was like? Okay, because our country is going that way.
It
Okay.
aged him.
And what happened is this. Yeah, no kidding. What happened is this. You get yourself a paycheck and you got to spend it as quickly as you can. Because a week later or a month later, it's not worth anything. So I was sitting there thinking, man, I already got all the food I need. So I'm like, I'll buy another soccer ball. I'll buy this. I'll buy anything I can buy because it's just not going to be worth anything. You have to spend it. You can't put it in the bank account. Okay, you can't just sit on it anymore. Does that make sense? And so, just to give you a little more feel of it, okay, you go to Target right now, and how many blenders do you have on a shelf? You can pick all these different blenders and all these different manufacturers, and how many vacuum cleaners are there, and coffee makers, and I mean, all these different things we have at Target and Walmart, and anywhere you go, you just have all these options. Well, what happens is when inflation goes really bad, people stop buying things. So when you get into the store and you want to get yourself a blender, there's one, maybe two blenders. That's it. And usually they're really expensive and they're really cheap at the same time, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay? And you just start losing things because businesses go out of business. People lay people off. It becomes a vicious cycle. It just gets worse and worse and worse. Now, when I was in Brazil, I was going down the street and I had American dollars. Okay? And there was this hot dog vendor. And he said, "Are you going to trade any dollars anytime soon?" I said, "Yeah, I was just going to go to the bank tomorrow and trade some dollars for money." And he says, "Tell you what, how much are you going to get for it?" And I said, 1,000, for example. I'm just giving an example. And I go, I get 1,000 from the bank. Okay. He goes, "I'll pay you 1,010 and I'll save you a trip to the bank." I said, "Deal." And then I got the money for Brazil. He got 1,000, or he got whatever, the dollar or whatever it was. And it was a good deal for him. It was a great deal for me. The reason it was such a good deal for him is because when he held on to that dollar, which was very stable at the time, Okay, a month later, when everybody else is getting 10,000 of their currency for $1, he didn't lose 9,000. He turns in the dollar at the bank and now gets 10,000. Does that make sense? Because it held its value. Okay, so when I buy silver, I don't buy it as a huge investment to trade it tomorrow. I just put it away. Because for me, it's a hedge against inflation. Just like that hot dog vendor, it's a hedge against inflation. So when inflation goes nuts and I got silver and I got a house payment, guess what I just did? I just paid off my house payment 10 times faster. Does that make sense? Because now everybody's dollar is worth less, but my silver kept its value. And so now instead of getting $30 for my silver, I'm getting $100 if it gets bad enough. And then I just take that silver and pay off my house or whatever else. But does that make sense as far as investment goes? Okay.
Okay, let me tell you my thoughts though. So I've been doing this for 14 years. And I have a brother that lives in Riverton and he's dead broke, doesn't own his house. He's living off of Social Security or whatever. He's a year older than I am. We went to my grandmother's her funeral. She died at 100. Okay, we drove to California together and he just asked me a bunch of questions. So he goes, I want to buy a tube of silver. So I sold him a tube of silver that he had to scrounge up every single penny to get it. And I gave it to him for my cost and everything. And here you go. My brother's really mad that it's not way up here. I get mad when the price goes up. I'm going to tell you two different thought processes. So when the price goes up, it was at over $29 just recently. And I'm just going, oh my gosh, why? Because I want to buy more. I want to take advantage of these lower prices as long as I can. My brother's mad about 20 ounces of silver. I said, you can't be mad with that. I mean, if you had 100 ounces, I wouldn't, because if it goes up, you're going to say, I wish I had more. So if the price goes down, I love that because you do what's called cost averaging. You just keep buying when it's low. And then when it starts to go up, which I'm going to tell you that right now. So let me kind of give you some numbers. Last year, 83 million ounces were produced. 1.2 billion was consumed. This year, 1.4 billion will be consumed. Did you hear me correctly? So 830 million were produced and 1.2 million last year were consumed. That means there's not enough silver to go around. Okay, so this much is being produced, this much is being used. What the difference between silver and gold is, gold has really no purpose. Silver, over 80% of silver is used in industrial purposes. Can anybody name a few of those purposes? Anything electronic, high end. So high end TVs. These TVs are ridiculous. I keep thinking of when I was a kid. I'm like, I was watching TV on a black and white TV this big, and I've got an 85 incher now. Okay, and it's better than in real life. The picture is literally better than if you're looking at the real thing. It's unbelievable. Okay, so the two biggest things are solar and electric cars. But guess what's way more than ever expected? Every car. Because somebody said semiconductors, but chips and electronics and screens and all the things. I just got picked up to go to the airport in a, what was it, Expedition or something, whatever those black car limousines are. It had a computer screen on it. I mean, it was huge on the car, on the dash. Anyway, that uses silver. All those high-end electronics use silver. So that's why 1.2 billion was consumed with 830 million being produced. This year, the very minimum they say is 1.4 billion that's going to be used. Okay, so I order from the mints. I don't buy from anybody else. And I had a guy come today and I had one page of products up and it said, not available, limited quantity, not available, limited quantity, not available, not available, not available. It was unbelievable, both for gold and silver. It's so hard to get stuff now, okay? But yet, guess what? The price is really low because of the futures market. Remember, that's what's dictating it. Not this shortage of silver that's really hard to get. I ordered silver eagles and it was 30-day delay. Took 30 days to have the silver delivered straight from the mint.
By the way, I don't know if you know this, just a little fact. Tomahawk missiles, with all the wars going on, do you know how much silver is in each missile?
Well, I've heard different opinions, but 500 ounces.
500 ounces. Yep. Isn't that crazy? And
Every warhead,
every single one of them.
500 ounces, which is equivalent to a monster box. Okay, a monster box, you can get let's go into this right now. You do not want to buy.
We make ourselves targets.
Shoot at me, I'll take it. Where was I? So I'm really against. I get once in a great while, I'll get a guy that calls me and says, I want silver rounds. Does anybody know what a silver round definition is?
An ounce of silver of some company that puts their logo on it.
So a silver round, sometimes people mistakenly say silver round for an eagle or something because it's round and it's silver. Silver round technically means privately minted. Okay? He showed you the coins, the fake ones. There's a mint in Salt Lake City called the Old Glory Mint that's not there anymore because they got shut down by the government because they're ripping people off. They were putting about 999 was what was on the thing. Does anybody know what that means? So 99, when it says 0.999, 3 nines on gold and silver, that means it's 99.9%. If it's 4 nines, it's 99.99%. Does that matter? 4 nines versus 3 nines?
Yes,
Why?
it's costs less to purify because it's already.
Okay, but if you're buying a U.S. Eagle, let's just call it, does it matter? Or a Canadian. A U.S. Eagle's 3 nines on the gold and silver. Canadian's 4 nines.
But if it's going to be used for something like electronics.
But you're not going to buy a U.S. Eagle coin if you're going to use it for that. So just to kind of clarify, to put you at ease, when you buy a 1 ounce coin, I don't care. So this is where I was going with this. I only sell government issue on silver. So I have U.S. Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs. What are the other 2 big ones? South African Krugerrand and Austrian Mint Philharmonic. They're all really hot sellers. So what is really important is the exit strategy. That means when you want to cash it out or sell it or whatever, you can sell it with ease. By the way, one little fact, I'll interject here. The higher the prices go, the easier it is to sell. It becomes a feeding frenzy. I had people fighting on my front porch over in 2011 to buy what I had left. I couldn't believe it. I'll tell this story. A guy calls me from Salt Lake. I'm in Lehigh. He says, I had about 3,000 ounces left. He goes, I'll take 1,500 of them. I said, okay. He says, I'm on my way. Another guy calls me, says, I'm in Lehigh. I want the whole 3,000. I said, I only have 1,500 left. I got a guy coming. He says, I'll take the whole 3,000. I'll pay you $1 more for each coin than you're asking. That would have made me $3,000 more. I said, no, I've got a guy coming and I'm a guy of my word. And he said, even with $1 more. And I said, nope. And he said, the guy might not even show up, which happens once in a while. Somebody doesn't show up, but I said, I gave him my word, he'll be here. And so this guy takes the 15, he gets there first. The second guy got there first. That's when he's trying to talk me into this. So I sell him the 1,500. The other guy shows up and I said, see, and the other guy was still there. So both guys are there. The guy offers the guy $1 more for 1,500 ounces than he just paid me. And he said, nope. And then it went up to $2 more. He goes, I'll give you $2 more. And he said, nope. And they ended up both leaving. It was unbelievable. Okay. During COVID, I had a person in my office, a person on my porch, and 2 cars of people waiting, all different parties, for appointments to get in to buy silver. In harder times, it gets ridiculous. I call it a feeding frenzy. It's unbelievable what I've seen. Okay. So we have geopolitical wars, we have inflation, we have interest rates high, which I'll come back to in 2 seconds. We have all these things, gold being hoarded, manipulated, all this stuff, and silver as well. And I just think it's an unbelievable time to buy. The reason is because they're saying that, well, let me talk about this first. I told you in 2 seconds I'd talk about it. So, let me gather my thoughts here. What was I talking about? Interest rates. Interest rates are high. Credit cards, homes, cars, everything, interest rates are high. When interest rates go down, which they're talking about lowering interest rates at the end of this year 4 times. You don't believe it? When interest rates go down, gold and silver will go up. Even on the rumor of it, it'll go up. Okay? So that's coming. Whether it's this year or the next year, it's going to be soon. By the way, the Feds create inflation, and then they're saying, this is a Band-Aid for it, raising interest rates. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to get into that. But let me pass around. I'm going to pass this around really quick. This is a silver Krugerrand. I'm going to go over prices. Oh, before I do that, because of what I told you, over 80% of all silver is being used for industrial purposes, and it's being taken and utilized faster than they can get it out of the ground. There's not that much new exploration going on, and it's not very cost effective to get it out of the ground. So when you're spending more money to get it out of the ground than what spot price is, the US Mint has been raising their prices a little bit here and there. Like in 1 week, it raised their price 3 times. Okay? And I'm talking about the premium over spot. The Mint, a lot of people think I make all the premium. No. There's spot price, and then there's a premium on top of it that pays for the labor intensive, stuff that's going on to get them to get the job done. Okay? So I make very little, and the Mint makes the lion's share of what that premium is. So with the underdevelopment of it and all the industrial purposes, they're saying that the $50 mark that it hit in 2011 is mere pittance of what it's going to do. They said in the next 5 years, and these are where I go to these it's called money and mining symposiums. The last one I went to was in Toronto. They're all over the world. New Orleans one time, but I go to these money and mining symposiums and I listen to mining executives. And the mining executives, they're saying, it's unbelievable what I'm learning, but they're saying that the price is going to get into the triple digits on the spot price for silver and not the lower triple digits. The actual consensus is $500 or more in the next 5 years. Okay. Gold, they're saying $10,000 to $15,000 an ounce. So let's take that. So let's just say, so if gold goes to 15,000, let's say 10,000. If gold goes to 10,000, that's 4 times your money if you bought an ounce of gold today. Okay. If silver goes to 500, how many times is that? 20 times your money. Okay. That's 20 times your money. So that's how they're saying that these things are going to go up that much in the next 5 years. By the way, in 1960, a guy stepped in, gold was $30 an ounce. Just think if we would have bought a whole bunch of them. Gold is $30 an ounce, and somebody said, gold is going to go up 10 times in the next 25 years. And everybody laughed him out of the meeting. In the 80s, it hit $865, which $30 10 times is 300. And it hit 865. So the guy was right, but he was low on his prediction. Those predictions are even heavier now than they were then. So that's why I like the price low, and I average my cost. I already have tons of silver, but when it went to 22, I bought more. I took my horse money, some of my horse money. My wife goes, "That's our horse money." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do? Buy another horse?" "I'm going to buy some silver." Remember, it's just sitting in the bank. So, which brings up a good point. I had a guy that's a previous client one time before. He bought a little bit of silver, and he calls me and he says, I've got a kind of a weird question. He says, I want to buy $30,000 worth of silver, but my wife's kind of against it. I said, well, so what's your question? And he said, can I bring my wife by and have her see what I'm doing? I said, absolutely. I said, you need the support of your wife. So she came, very intelligent, very sophisticated, asked really good questions. And she turns to her husband and she says, I want to do 100. And he goes, 100 what? And she said, 100,000. He goes, that's our whole savings. So now he's on the other side of the coin, right? Not to be funny about that, but anyway, so she says, I want to do the whole 100. He goes, that's our whole life savings. And so they're kind of going back and forth, and I'm just kind of, and I finally had to say something. I said, look, is that money in the bank? And she said, yeah. And I said, it's better to have your money not be sitting in a bank. In fact, you want to, you just need to know that it's still in savings. Just because it's in a different instrument doesn't mean it's not savings anymore. It's just a better instrument than cash or a bank account. You're the last guy to see that one. I'm going to send this one around.
Are these the ones you're going to give away? For the lucky winner? Which speaker?
Did you see this?
Sure.
I think that's one of the prettiest coins. Did you hear that, Buffalo? Well, that's pretty dang pretty. That's from China. That's actually a real coin. That one, it's a springbuck. It's the South African mint, but the springbuck is their national animal. It's just pretty, and it's just, I don't believe in these. You know what this is? It's a numismatic. A numismatic means it's been graded. It's an ingenious way to charge more for an ounce of silver than what it's worth, I should say. So what they've done is they grade them and say, under 5 times magnification, there's no scratches. So we're going to call it a MS70, which stands for Mint State 70. That's the highest score you can get. So both these, where'd that thing go? I saw it. So this is a gold coin. They're both of these are MS70s, which means Mint State 70. That's the highest grading you can get. They're perfect, and they can charge more for it than normal. I don't believe in that. I believe in just buying the silver, a good government issue, not a privately minted deal, but buying something like that to where it's easy to exit out of it, and something that's recognizable and super, wanted. Super sought after is what I should have said. That's a Chinese panda, and it's pretty cool looking, huh?
I'd like to better understand the gold and silver that doesn't exist, that's being traded.
The 400 times more a day in the
Right.
futures market.
Well, let's put it into perspective. There's more olive oil produced, more olive oil sold than olive oil produced. Which means to me that whatever you buy in olive oil, you don't know if it's real olive oil at all. It's healthy, so I don't trust any of it. I eat olives, so I figure I'm getting olive oil.
There's a process to it. Olive oil is one of the best things you can get into your body, actually. Super, I'm a health guy, so I teach that as well. It's super high in polyphenols and everything. But yeah, a lot of things that you buy are highly dilute
It's fake.
and not really what you think it is or whatever. So that's why I don't buy from the public, because I don't trust anybody. I buy straight from the mints. And
Then the gold and silver that's being traded that doesn't exist, it's not real.
well, it's just paper. It's just like when I walked into Costco the other day and they were demonstrating Traeger grills. And I walked by and the guy goes, hey, hey, hey. And I said, I own Traeger. And I kept walking. He goes, what, really? And I said, yeah, I own a couple of thousand shares of Traeger stock. You know, you don't really have any ownership to it, but technically you do because it's the stockholders that own it, the shareholders. That's the same thing. They're just buying paper. It's ridiculous. I think it should be illegal.
Let me do this also. We got about 15 minutes before we need to end, but this is mine. I actually have one that has the whole.
Did you see mine?
Yeah, but this is fake.
Okay.
But this is funny. There's all these fake ones out there, and they even have the whole graded thing and everything else. And so you gotta be kind of
You see
careful
this?
with these as well.
Did you see it?
Yeah. See, I have one at home with that, and it's fake.
Look at how cool that is.
Yeah, and I have the same thing. And you just go to look up the number, it doesn't exist, right? But it's got the whole thing, and it's fake, and it's just kind of crazy. But I want to give enough time because we got about 14 minutes before we need to wrap up. For anyone to have any questions, because you got Steve here, and some people wonder, how do you, if you get all the silver, what do you do? How do you trade it back? All that stuff. So if anybody has any questions,
So one of my silver
Here, hold on
eagles,
one
how
sec.
much do they cost?
So
I want a bunch of silver eagles. How much do they cost? And then and if I want to, I have a bunch right now, and I want to sell them today. How much can I sell them for?
well, I sell them every single day. So you can sell them for the same price I am if I can sell them. Okay, you don't have to walk into a coin store. The negative thing is, if you walk into a coin store, you're going to get 1099. They're going to, if they give you $10,000 or more than 10,000, they're going to send a CTR report to the IRS and all that stuff. So just sell it privately. So right now, have you guys heard of JM Bullion? So JM Bullion's the largest on-site store there is in the world. So they tier their pricing. It's right now when I checked before I came, it was $37 a coin to buy 1 through 19. To buy 1,500 or more American Eagles, it was $35. So, yep, if you buy 1,500 or more. So I make 25 cents per coin, and I charge less than that if you just wanted to buy one, or if you wanted to buy 20 or whatever. I don't do a tiered pricing. I just do a straight price. And it's lower than their best tiered price you can get. And mine are 2024, brand new, sealed. Everything about them's as good as it gets. So the price that I sell it for is the price you should be able to sell it for yourself. Especially when things,
How do I get a buyer?
you put it on KSL.
Yeah, he was asking how to get buyer.
Yeah. How do I get a buyer?
You put it on KSL.
Yeah, for those online around the country, KSL is the classified ad, so you could just go and do it in classified ad. And let me give a little bit of advice on that. Those people can't see me. If you're going to do it, don't have them come to your house to pick it up, because it's just really dumb. Okay, so meet at a common location like a supermarket, not close, not
Let
right
me
next
tell
to
you
your
what the better places are. So if you go into a bank lobby and there's cameras everywhere and you're actually inside the bank, there's cameras and everything, and that's a pretty safe place. Or Lehigh, there's a police station that says we have a safe place. I go out around the back, there's no windows, there's a camera and a light, and I said, that's where you want me to meet? I go, no, I'm doing it inside with a policeman sitting right there. So I do it inside a police station. And they go, well, you can go out there. And I go, no, I want somebody sitting right here, and I want to do it inside here where there's,
super smart.
So don't do it in a store parking lot. There's been people that have been different things, like you go to sell a gun and they beat you over the head with a bat and take your gun, and don't do it. Do it inside somewhere where there's people, cameras, and light and everything else.
That's really smart. Thank you.
Okay, so,
Okay, we had a question here, there, I think, back here.
oh, by the way, just to finish this thought, I don't have any social media accounts at all, but I hear like Marketplace, different places on different social medias is a really good place. I have done so well with word of mouth. I don't have anything. I don't have to do anything. Just people, hey, so-and-so gave me your number. you know. And then the first time I meet them at a bank or somewhere, and then after I kind of trust them or whatever, then they come to my home.
So in 10 years, there's going to be an apocalypse. We're going to hell in a handbasket.
Less than 10.
Yeah. Silver, as it's used in technology, is not in the form of coins. So we're into this apocalypse. Who's going to buy my coins?
Everybody that didn't the day before, okay? Yesterday was the best time to buy it. Today's the second best time. Tomorrow's the worst time, but it's easy.
And you got to understand, there's a time for silver, okay, and there's a time when silver's nothing. You know, where it's not nothing. There's going to be a day, I believe, and you know, if anybody has ever read Spencer W. Kimball's works where he talks about, I believe there will be a day not one business will be open in the world, you know, or not world, maybe United
So
States.
if you can't eat it, it's worthless.
Yeah.
So if you can't eat, drink, warm yourself, whatever you need to live on, silver is going to be worthless in that time. And I'm the first to admit that. I have people come all the time saying, I'm buying this for the last days when there's nothing left. For bartering purposes, I go, okay, you need to go shop at a different place.
Yeah, you can't eat it. So
Okay,
that's
that's
why
my
we
saying. If you
we
can't
say
eat it,
food
it's
storage,
worthless.
water storage, all this stuff. But understand, there's a hedge against inflation. That'll, if you can write it at the right time and sell it at the right time, and you know what you're going to buy with it, just understand it's not going to be forever. It's a time period. So let's go over here, and we got a bunch of questions.
He
So
was in
I
line
think
along-
he was after them. So
he was the first guy to receive.
So I have two questions. Chips in coins. Are they putting chips in coins? And then I want your phone number so I can make an appointment.
I'm married.
I've got to use that one.
Okay. So I've been being told, and I kind of keep watching everything. If you guys want, I'll put my phone number up here, and if you want to text me, I'll text you a video clip of. You guys, there's a monster box, and there's 2 layers of bottom, and there's 2 layers of top. So you take the top off, and then there's another top. Then you you see all the coins, and you take them out, and then there's a bottom that you take out, and then there's another bottom. It's just super strong. That second, the top part of the bottom, when you take that out, and I think this is what I'm discovering because I'm really looking into this. There's a video out that shows that there's a tracking device, and it literally says GPS on it. I've seen it, okay? But on the GPS, it says UK and CA. I'm hoping that's just for Canada and the UK because the guy that's doing this is in the UK. He says and claims that there's chips inside the coins as well. So a tracking device that literally says GPS, they're not hiding it. I mean, it's actually hidden because it's there's a cavity under there. You'll see on the video if I text it to you. The guy just puts it up in there and then it just kind of sucks in there. There's a metal strip in there. And then the tracking device has a magnet in it, and it just sucks right up in there, and you can't see it. And I've never taken off that bottom thing, but I've taken apart. They said it's for type 2. Does that make sense to anybody? So type 1, from 1986 till halfway through 2021, they made a coin that looked a certain way, and it's called a type 1. The type 2, halfway through 2021, they changed the pattern. The back eagle looks different. And so from 2021 on, for the next 35 years, they're going to make the type 2. It's not called the type 2 anymore. Just in 2021, it's called type 1 and type 2. Now it's just the type 2, and it's just a regular eagle. But they said on the video that there's type 2s have this tracking device. So I took apart a 2023, which is a type 2. I took apart a box just this week, and there's no tracking device in it. I highly doubt, this is my opinion, so don't go to the bank with it. I highly doubt there's a chip inside the coin because I measured the coin for 2024, which should be what they're tracking, right? If there's a chip in it. I measured it, I weighed it, and compared it to older ones. It's exactly the same weight. To me, it would weigh different if there's a chip in there. Or to compensate for the weight to make it perfect, the measurements would be a little different, and they're not. So they claim in this video that there's a chip in it and you can put it in water for 14 minutes and it'll deactivate the chip. I don't believe that, but I've been surprised a few times in my life. But I do know that that tracking device, it literally has a light in it, and you pull the thing out and the light goes off, you put it back in, the light goes on. So it's, I don't know how long the source of power can last. But so I'm thinking, the guy in the video says it's, you know, we're being tracked, but it's, I think it's UK and Canada. At least that's what my hope and belief system is. But back to his question about US Eagles. US Eagles are one of the 4 types that I sell. I sell Canadian maple leafs. I sell Austrian mint.
As you go through those, will you just tell us like what they go for? I mean,
I'm going to tell you that the Canadian maple leaf, a lot of people buy not Eagles because of the reason that there's an executive order in place that, remember in 1933, they confiscated everybody's gold?
Yeah.
It was only US gold and gold certificates, which means a bill that says gold certificate, which I have some of those. They confiscated all that. And some people do not want any US product because they don't want that to happen when they exercise the executive order. I don't think it'll ever happen, but if they did, they can take your US stuff. But if you buy it from me, nobody knows about it, and I'd bury it before you ever give it to the darn government. So the cheapest one, which is the Austrian mint, is over $3 less per ounce. Think about it. The African Krugerrands, remember I told you I bought 5,000 ounces? I bought African Krugerrands myself, okay? Because they're $3 less per ounce. They're only a nickel more than the Austrian. And that's one of those I sent around. Beautiful coins. They're in a sealed box as well. By the way, South Africa is the one that invented bullion, the 1 troy ounce measurement. They have sold more gold Krugerrands than any other gold on the planet. The US Eagles are selling more now than the Krugerrand, but if you add it up over time, the Krugerrand has outsold everything put together. So it's very well recognized and very highly sought after. So I bought Krugerrands because of the price. Why? Remember, I don't know who was here before or not. I recognize some faces. But let's say you buy 100 coins or stocks, shares, whatever. Take the decimal where it is, move it over 2 places, and that's how much you're going to make for every penny that silver goes up. So if you have 1,000, well, let's go to 10,000. You're going to make $100 for every single penny that silver goes up, or for every penny that stock goes up. It's a formula I made up to kind of understand, don't buy a little bit. Okay? I had somebody, my daughter bought 1 share of Disney. I said, what do you expect to get out of that? You know what I mean? You make a penny for every penny it goes up. That's, okay, this is called leverage. So I got 5,000 Krugerrands versus how much it would have been. I would have got a lot less Eagles for $3 difference per coin, if that makes sense. So I go for something that's well sought after, highly recognized, brand spanking new that nobody's ever touched, but yet I get more of it. So that's the formula I use to figure out how much I'm going to make for every penny that it moves. That's what I'm going to get back on my investment. Okay. Another question.
What do you think about buying gold and silver from Costco?
You would have to say that.
$1 million a month.
No kidding.
I do $150,000 a day on my good days. Yeah, so I heard about it by clients. They came and bought from me because every single time they got on the dang website, you can only buy it online, right? I could never get it. I couldn't even see it. I go, you guys aren't even telling me the truth. And then I called Costco and they said, well, that's because it's not there. If it's not available, it's off the website. So day after day after day after day after day, it never was available. And it's right now, the last I looked or called on, it's only 1 coin, 1 choice.
Or a bar.
I have a guy that works at Costco and he sends me all the information now. And fact, I invited him here today and he was working at Costco. The darn JOB. Anyway, he showed me a picture of a silver bar, Canadian silver bar. So I don't, it's,
Like $2 over spot.
yeah, I don't like Canadian bars. They're, to me, they don't look good. And I've ordered tons of these bars from Canada, it's called the Royal Canadian Mint. And every single time, nobody's touched them. They come directly from them to me, and every single time they have dings around that. There's a real sharp edge around that 10-ounce bar, and they just come with dings because of their handling them in the plant, the mint. And it just bugs me. So, you know, I like absolutely perfect stuff. I'm a perfectionist. And so that resale value, you get somebody who says, there's a ding on there. Well, sorry, the mint did it. Really? It's just hard to sell. So I don't like that, though every single bar has that. The gold coins is a little bit different. I do sell a lot of Canadian gold coins, but I sell a lot more American, a lot of Krugerrands. And there's a company called PAMP. That's what Costco started with. You know what? Have you heard of that, PAMP? So it's a Swiss mint. It's their 45th anniversary this year, so they're very well known, very sought after. And the benefit to that, remember the credit card packaging I told you about? They have what's called Veriscan, and on my phone, I have an app called the Veriscan app, and if you buy it, it's unbelievable because you can take your camera, go to the app, and go down on the front part of the coin, which has no serial number or anything, and it'll give you a check mark and say, this is valid, it's real, and then it'll tell you the serial number, and you turn the thing over and it matches the serial number. So it's a perfect way to validate your gold. So I buy PAMP gold, and a lot of people buy that. And I've done others like Valcambi and different brands, and they don't sell very well because you can't verify them. The PAMP is verifiable with a free app by anybody, any day of the week, you can verify that it's real. So what that means is on the front of that bar, there's something different on each one of those bars that identifies it. It's like a fingerprint. And the camera on the app verifies that.
Awesome. So we're out of time. Were there any burning questions that we didn't get or take care
We
of?
can do it after.
Okay.
So.
So go ahead and talk to them afterwards. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
They say that that 5% of gold increase will yield a 30% increase on silver. I just read that today. So just some really good things, and the prices are great. I sell it for less than anybody else, and I'll help you sell it if you want. I have helped people put ads on KSL because I know how to do it. I'm an expert at it. I get it all done, and they get out of it if they need to.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, everybody thank Steve for being here today. Thank you, Steve.